आज के पॉडकास्ट में you won't just get introduced to an interesting entrepreneur or a successful buyout investor, but something even more innately fascinating: the mindset and the thinking prowess you need to become successful in these above two professions. Happy watch. दर्शकों, आपका स्वागत है एक और एपिसोड में ऑन बाय साइड हिपीज। आज हमारे बीच में एक बहुत बड़े इन्वेस्टर टर्न्ड एंटरप्रेन्योर हैं, संभव जैन। संभव, आई हैंड ओवर टू यू। कैन यू प्लीज टेल अस अबाउट योरसेल्फ? हु आर यू? वेयर आर यू फ्रॉम? what have you been doing?
Sure. Like a lot of questions now, but like first of all, thank you so much, Asim, for having me on your podcast. Really excited to be here. So, my name is Sambhav. I was born and brought up in Delhi. Very similar to yourself. And uske baad, I studied in DPSR Puram. I studied in uske baad, like very close by, there was a college that I attended, IIT Delhi. Spent about 4 years there. Then I like worked 1 year as a management consulting. That was in Mumbai at LEK. After that, I have spent about 3 years as an investment professional in the private equity arm of Blackstone. So that was like for 3 years, and like very recently I made the plunge. I decided to become an entrepreneur along with some of my closest friends from college. So we have started a SaaS company now, and the traction that we've been getting so far has just been incredible. So I think that's my journey up to this point, and I'm really excited for what the future holds in store.
Wow, man, like you've already achieved everything that I planned to achieve by the age of 16. But I just wanted to understand one thing, Sambhav. ये आपका स्टार्टअप जो है, जो आपके रातों की नींद उसने आपकी छीन ली और आपको कहा कि मतलब स्टार्टअप करना ही है, इतनी बढ़िया नौकरी छोड़ के इंडिया की वन ऑफ द लीडिंग कंपनीज ब्लैकस्टोन को छोड़ के आप स्टार्टअप कर रहे हैं, वो कुछ तो बहुत ही अमेजिंग आइडिया रहा होगा। क्या है ये आइडिया? क्या है ये कंपनी? आपकी नाम क्या है कंपनी का? क्या करती है ये?
Yeah, fair question. So, देखो, Intract, we are calling ourselves Intract. We're a SaaS company and we're building a solution for D2C brands. So, D2C is like, any online brand selling directly to consumers digitally in a way. So, like some brand, like let's say Mamaearth, if you've like bought from them, or like Licious, if you bought from them, or even both, right? So, like a lot of D2C brands now that you see in India as well as globally. So, we're building a solution for them to be able to send more personalized communications to the customers that they already have, in order to be able to incentivize upselling and cross-selling, and just like incentivize repeat purchases from the customers that they've already acquired. So what's happening in the world right now is like new customer acquisition is just becoming more and more of a challenge. It's becoming more expensive. It's more and more people are trying to win over the same people, and with data privacy changes that are happening across the globe, it's just like it's so uncertain. And so like the focus of the why now is sort of towards retention. And then that's where what we are trying to solve, after like talking to hundreds of D2C brands both globally as well as in India. We realized कि ये problem है जो marketers करना चाहते हैं D2C में. They're not able to solve that yet, because the current tools that they have do not offer the exact solution that they need, and they don't solve it in the way they want it to be solved in. And like we only figured it out after like working as a marketer in like these D2C brands. So like jo wo karte hain, like we did it ourselves. We use the tools that they use. We figured out what exactly is this problem, and now we are like trying to solve it through a SaaS solution that we're building, which is essentially a software that they can just plug and play like right from day one, and they can just like get value out of it.
I understand. So if I have to summarize what your startup does in say one sentence, what I understand, correct me if my understanding is wrong, it's a one-stop solution for all the retention problem that the marketers face due to increased competition for D2C brands in particular. Is that what it is?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Eventually it will be. Right now we're even more focused than that. So right now we're solving the communication part of it, being able to send personalized communications to those customers that the D2C brand already has acquired. So like be it an email, be it a WhatsApp. I don't know if you've like already received any from a D2C brand that you purchased from in the past, but basically वो जो उसके पीछे जो प्रोसेस है ना वो इतना मुश्किल होता है. That's what we figured out after we worked with these D2C brands, and that's what we are trying to simplify.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. आपका आइडिया तो काफी इंटरेस्टिंग है. टीम बहुत सॉलिड लगती है, पर मुझे ये समझना है कि, और ये थोड़ा पैसिव अग्रेसिव क्वेश्चन है, तो मतलब मुझे आपसे यही, क्योंकि क्योंकि ये हर कोई पूछता है. इतने स्टार्टअप्स आते हैं हर साल, हजारों स्टार्टअप स्टार्ट होते हैं हर साल. व्हाई डू यू थिंक दैट योर टीम of thousands of startups to startup will succeed? What is the secret sauce in your team which which will help it succeed and won't end up like the other 99% of startups?
Yeah. No, great question. Yeah, ये मैंने आंसर कर दिया, तो you'll have to like invest in my company then. But so no, yeah, but
Yeah.
no, like I'll try to answer it in like different ways, but I like talk about the, I think at least the factor that is most important to me, why I am like personally super excited and like believe in the success of our company, and that's I think the team, which you like answered yourself. So I'm doing this with like a couple of friends from college. Both of them are some of the smartest people that I've like worked with, and like I'm privileged to also call them my friends. And not just like friends, but more than that, we also have like completely complementary skill sets. So I think that's very important in a team, right? You can't all have the exact same mindset. You need to have that different, let's say, either a skill set or a mindset, so that you sort of complement each other when you're like building a company, and you can do what, let's say, your co-founder can't in a way. And that's what we bring to the table. Like one has a full stack development experience, one has data science experience, he's very passionate about that, and I have the business development experience from the several different roles and jobs that I've been a part of over my career. So yeah, I think that's what gets me most excited. That's of course like one factor. I think like a lot of other factors. Our co-founders also, our team also has like prior starting up experience.
Oh,
So
really? Nice,
yeah,
nice.
yeah. So we do already know मतलब कि क्या गलतियां होती हैं. We are we're not doing this for the first time. There's some sort of, we're not starting at basically like from scratch, is what I'm saying. And we've already like worked with these brands that we're trying to solve a problem for. So we understand that pain. वो दर्द हमने खुद सहा है, इसलिए मतलब हम वो solve करना चाहते हैं. It's not something that it just sounds very exciting because we talk to a bunch of people. We want to solve something that we faced ourselves, and yeah, I think that yeah, I mean, I'm like personally very excited.
I've actually heard that, and I've seen also a lot of stories who actually end up doing well in the startup ecosystem and end up becoming big companies. Is like most of the companies were started because there was a need in the market which was not being catered to. It was an actual need and not like just a product or like that was being created to make money. And like a lot of people just want to do business just to earn money. But I think that when there is a real problem and you actually as an entrepreneur get things together, and in your case you have these interesting co-founders, including you had operating experience, you've been doing buyouts, you need to understand company very deeply. Like so आपने भी देखा है कि लोग गलतियां करते हैं, उनसे सीखते हैं. In the investment side, your co-founders have been on the startup side, so I guess it's a great I think a team to have. I think it's a dream team. So I'm really excited about what happens with you guys and your journey ahead. So Sambhav, I want to just take you back a little bit and
Yeah.
to understand a little bit of philosophical question. It is like what I know is that it's not like one eureka moment कि आप एक दिन उठते हो अपने बेड से कहते हो बस अब स्टार्टअप करना है. Like it's series of say micro events that happen over a course of like a long time, which convinces you was okay, now is the right time to start up. What were those events which moved the needle for you? Which were those micro events in your life which convinced you कि boss मुझे नौकरी नहीं करनी, मुझे startup करना है, I want it all?
Yeah, no, so Asim, I'll answer your question. You said you want to take me back a little in time, but what I'm saying is कि यहाँ पे it won't be enough to like go back just a little. I'll have to take you back all the way to my childhood. And so basically क्या है ना, like I belong to a family where the family has been operating a family business for more than 60 years now. In fact, I'm like the third generation. and I've seen all my uncles do the same, or they're like entrepreneurs of them in their own regard. And like the college that I went to, like IIT Delhi, and like I'm saying this very proudly, but IIT Delhi is actually the number one college in this country in terms of giving out successful unicorn founders to the ecosystem. So I saw that like with my own eyes when I was in the college. All my friends, everyone I used to hang out with were of had the same aspiration ki, khud ka kuch karna hai. So I think I just like my mind was just molded that in that direction throughout. I did want to, however, like get some professional experience before I took the plunge, and so for that reason, I did try out different things. I worked as a management consultant. I did work as an investor just to get a sense of how things work on the other side of the table before I take the leap. And then, I talked about the team, and when we were like finally able to put together this like all-star team, I decided that now is as good a time as any. Entrepreneurship mein, like time is everything. Yeah, you need to get the timing right. And what we are doing right now is the need of the hour with D2C, an explosion in D2C just happening all over the globe, an explosion in Indian SaaS startups happening that are like selling all over the globe. So I think we just thought ki abhi karna zaruri hai, and now is the perfect time to take that plan. So as you mentioned, right, it's never like ek din mein utha and like suddenly I had an epiphany. But it's like every day that I have like woken up for my entire life. My life has just been nudging me to take this direction, and now I finally like in the plunge.
So here संभव आपका मैं जर्नी देख के बहुत हैरान हूँ. आपसे एक मुझे क्वेश्चन तो पूछना ही पड़ेगा because we've spoken about this before outside the podcast as well. You came from a very privileged family, right? Like, and a lot of people who sort of end up in IT don't. Like, a lot of people in country aren't that privileged, to be from a business family, see how things work out on ground. आपके पास सब कुछ है जिंदगी में, पर आपने क्यों फिर तब भी कहा कि नहीं यार, मतलब आरके पुरम में गए, वन ऑफ द बेस्ट स्कूल्स इन दिल्ली. उसके बाद आईआईटी दिल्ली के लिए भी पढ़ा, जो बहुत लोग नहीं करते. और आईआईटी दिल्ली में भी आपने काफी मतलब धूम मचाई, और आप गए वन ऑफ द प्रेस्टिजियस मैनेजमेंट कंसल्टिंग फ्रॉम एली के, और एली के से भी आप गए ब्लैकस्टोन में, जो दुनिया की सबसे बड़ी प्राइवेट इक्विटी कंपनी है. व्हाट इज मोटिवेटिंग यू? व्हाई डोंट यू जस्ट से कि हे बॉस, माय फैमिली इज डूइंग प्रीटी वेल, आई हैव अ मर्सिडीज, like I don't need anything more in life. What is it that's motivating you, man? What is it? What is it?
Yeah. Hey, cool question. Yeah, I think her question ka the answer is different. Honestly, the only reason why I went into IT is because like that's all I could do. That's all I was good for in school. Like मुझे और कुछ आता ही नहीं था school में. The only thing that I could do was like get good marks. So yeah, I thought ki let's do that only. Let's try to become as good as like at the one thing that I'm already decent at. And so yeah, like जिसको भी पढ़ना आता था यार वो IT का exam लिख देते थे. So I did the same thing. I did of course like decide that it's a bit of a commitment. Like I needed to not just like study but also like study hard, and it like took a while, but like I actually like didn't mind it at all. Like school mein there was some like still some sort of like curiosity that I had for academics. So I think I was able to play that to my advantage. And like I actually like also enjoyed a lot of the subjects that I studied, and then I like somehow was able to crack the exam. फिर आईआईटी में रियलाइज कि देखो एकेडमिक्स तो हो गया है, ये गलत डायरेक्शन में था. तो देन आई स्टार्टेड डूइंग लाइक एवरीथिंग एल्स. आई डिड एवरीथिंग बट स्टडी इन कॉलेज. So yeah, then I like tried out a bunch of different things. I used to play the guitar, I used to do debating, I became a social entrepreneur, did like tons of other things also. And so yeah, like somehow I just like saw a lot of other people who said ki, if this is the way you're going, like you just right now want to build some professional experience and not do something of your own at this very at that very stage that I was at that point of time. So yeah, management consulting seemed like a very good option. It does give you it does allow you to work with like some very smart people. You get to work in a lot of different industries. And so I did that. Then like one thing led to another. I realized working with PEs in the consulting firm ki okay, like PE ka kaam bhi बहुत interesting लग रहा है, so why not try that? So I landed up in Blackstone. And Blackstone में था तो I again like I saw कि अच्छा ये इन्वेस्ट करना तो बड़ा अच्छा है, बट जो लोग कंपनी लेके आ रहे हैं इन्वेस्ट करवाने के लिए उनका काम बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग लग रहा है. तो अब वो करके तो ऐसे
Awesome.
ही हो रहा है, like life is never like you've never like figured it out. Even now it feels like I figured it out, but I'm sure like in 15 years, who knows what I'll be doing. So yeah.
मेरे एक दोस्त ने बोला था, जो काफी काफी बड़े इन्वेस्टर हैं वो भी, उन्होंने बोला था लाइक द मोस्ट सक्सेसफुल पीपल आर द वंस हु टेक नॉन लीनियर डिसीजंस इन लाइफ, एंड दोज डिसीजंस आर द वंस व्हिच form and make you who you are, separates you from the herd. And man, like your journey has been amazing. Like just to put it out there, I'll take thoda sa credit here. Like we both went to the same school, guys. We were both in DPS Puram. So I know, man, where you were coming from, how your schooling was, and like there's so much going on in that school. And a lot of my friends who came from really really wealthy families, they are just like sitting in their parents' shop and just like chilling and having a good time. And I see Sambhav, a totally different animal, killing it in life, consulting, private equity, I सब कुछ तो कर ही लिया है, और भी भूख है. तो I wish you the best, Sambhav, with your journey on the startup front. I'm super excited with what's coming up next. But what's coming up next on this podcast is also what I'm excited about. आज हम आपके साथ एक fun chat करेंगे. We'll play a game with you because you have just recently transitioned from being an investor to entrepreneur. So let's test. And a lot of people who want to be in your position as an investor, but ठीक है, हम वो सब discuss आप नहीं करेंगे. आज हम एक game खेलेंगे. I'll give you a company, and you have to tell me whether you will invest your money in this or not. And it's totally your opinion, guys. YouTube just putting out this, not an investment advice. Please seriously मत लेना, हम बस ऐसी ही बात कर रहे हैं, वार्तालाप कर रहे हैं. Seriously मत लीजिए इसको. So Sambhav, are you ready for this?
If someone takes my advice and like ends up losing money, I hope they won't come to my door wanting to beat me up. So yeah.
So first company started by two really handsome guys, who were bankers, and they run a podcast called Buy Side Hippies. Would you invest in that company?
Absolutely. Those guys like called me to talk. I think they're like smart people. Definitely onto something. Yeah, I wouldn't. Sure.
Investors, you already know Blackstone's interested in us, guys. Where is the money? Okay, yeah. Okay, moving on to the first question, like a serious question. So, say there's a lot of like this wave going around, PayTM going for an IPO, and now BharatPe has been news for all the right or wrong, I won't comment. Just for some reasons they've been in the news. So between say BharatPe and say PayTM, which company do you think you will invest your money in?
Yeah.
And why?
Okay. Can I say like none of the above? Because it's a tough question. So no, you're right. देखो BharatPe में ना like a lot going on, like a power tussle happening between investors and the management and the founder, and no one really knows. Like there are some allegations of corporate, misconduct. So of course, like I don't know enough to like know what actually happened and who's at fault, but doesn't seem to be like the best time to like invest in that company. PayTM like very similar, like the IPO wasn't like as big a success as like some people thought it would be, and I think some of that also has to do with the business model not being like sharp enough to like just focus on one thing of how they're going to make money. Instead, like it feels like the company just has its fingers in too many pies. So maybe like not very focused in its approach right now. But I feel at least PayTM is like listed. It's like, I don't know, 50% down from its IPO price or something. So yeah, why not? I mean, at this price,
Good
like,
time to invest,
yeah,
guys. The market's down, then you invest. Thought like a true investor. So no. Now moving on. There's been say an electric vehicle is the new big thing. These interesting companies, Blue Smart, all coming up. So I'll give you two companies and tell me between these two, which one do you think has a better, brighter prospect? Say there's Ola EV versus say, Tesla in India.
Yeah, Ola EV for sure. I mean, not for sure, but like, yeah, maybe over Tesla because yeah, I think like in India, the two-wheeler electric vehicle adoption is just going to, pick on like crazy, and it's going to happen. I personally believe much before the four-wheeler electric revolution is going to happen. And yeah, I think like Ola is already, rolling out its vehicles in India. There are like some concerns that that came out recently about the software and hardware not being up to the mark, but I think they will like eventually figure it out. And yeah, I think it's just like India's too big a market for like two-wheelers in any way. And so yeah, like whoever captures the lion's share, and I think Ola is like well positioned to do it. I think yeah, I would invest in Ola for sure.
Understood. Sure. Now my last question, man. I know I've been really troubling you with all these. I'm making your mind work, but man, just one last one because I'm genuinely curious about these companies. The next is of course this company I thought about Zepto. If you're aware of Zepto versus Big Basket, again a very renowned household name in the consumer space.
Yeah, great question. I've like personally, I think ordered from both of the companies. So yeah, very
Okay.
question that I can like relate to. But I would like invest in Zepto. I would say that it's like a new kind of a business model versus like Big Basket. Zepto has its like own dark stores, and they're trying to like deliver in like as short a time as possible, and like a lot of tech innovation they're trying to achieve to make that happen. So very interesting. I think there's some concern about like whether people will like even want a 10-minute delivery if they have to like pay a little extra. But I'm just thinking, if I'm like having a gin and like suddenly the tonic water runs out, and I want to make my drink and have it, so I'm going to go with Zepto because they can get it before I can like even get the ice out of the fridge. So yeah, Zepto. Zepto all the way.
आप काफी तेज इन्वेस्टर हो संभव जी। आपसे अब थोड़ा इन्वेस्टिंग का ही हम एक सवाल पूछेंगे बट आपकी नौकरी के बारे में, क्योंकि आप इतनी बड़ी फर्म में काम कर चुके हैं और मैं पर्टिकुलरली क्यूरियस हूँ क्योंकि बाय साइड में मतलब बहुत चीजें फ्लोट करती हैं कि बाय साइड इज वेरी हार्ड, लॉन्ग वर्किंग आवर्स एटसेट्रा एटसेट्रा एटसेट्रा। बट आई थॉट आपसे ही पूछ लेते हैं, लेट्स आस्क फ्रॉम द हॉर्सेस माउथ, लाइक हाउ वाज योर लाइफ लाइक। So the next theme I want to cover in this podcast is life of an investor in our ranks, the junior investor, who just is there to learn. So आपका कैसा था आपका lifestyle? Was it long hours? Did you have to take a lot of ownership in the work? How was it like for you when you worked in Blackstone for 3 years and you were one of the early promotes in Blackstone as well? Just putting it out there. So yeah, how was it like for you?
Yeah, no, actually, like life was actually quite amazing. Nothing much to complain about. Honestly, I feel like if it wasn't my sort of like this kida that I had inside me, ki like khud ka kuch karna, I would like actually want to stick in that kind of a job for the rest of my life as well. So I loved it actually. Like I think the people that you get to work with on the buy side are like so smart. Some of the smartest people that you'll ever get to work with. So that's great. I think we're even at like my level, I was able to just do so much crazy things that like I could never even imagine about.
Okay.
So I thought that was actually like pretty incredible. I do remember the team. There was like I was working in a team. We like got some company. We took some company to IPO on the Nasdaq, and so like our faces sort of like flashed in Times Square on that particular day. So yeah, that was actually pretty.
Crazy. What is it? Is this job about like a lot of long hours? Like how long do you have to like work? Say every day. Is every day like a fight, or is it like I don't know? Or is it just like you were interested? That's why you found it to be easy and you thrived in it. If you can clarify this particular part.
Yeah, देखो मतलब I think it depends on the expectation, right? If you're expecting for the job to be like a 9 to 5 thing, it's not going to be that. It's going to be slightly more challenging than that, but it's never going to be unbearable. As in like I never like found it hard to have enjoy my life outside of work despite being in private equity. And I think yes, I can't give you an exact number of like from when to when you'll have to work, because I think it's very variable depending on what deal you're evaluating, which stage that deal is in. Also depends on like which people you're working with. I think like it just depends on a lot of different factors, so there's no like hard formula. But on average, I would say it's like actually pretty normal, and I would like rather be working and learning something than spending time doing nothing at home. In fact, like I can tell you this, like my life as an entrepreneur, I've been like more stressed and I've been working longer hours than I was when I was in private equity. So no, I and that perception you talked about, ye mujhe bhi tha, matlab before I actually joined Blackstone, like at least 3 of my friends in private equity told me that don't do it. It's a mistake. The worst decision you can make for your life. I don't know if I can. Okay, I'm not going to use any unacceptable words, but yeah, like life may not be hunky dory. So anyway, that's the feedback that I got. But like the reality was so different. Like life was actually pretty great.
It was great. It was great. Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
So let's say when you were working in Blackstone, you were joined as an analyst, then you moved on to become an associate because you did great work, great deals. Like what does say your role entail? जैसे हम जैसे काफी youngsters होते हैं, crazy, who want to earn a lot of money, make it in life, make a name for ourselves. Like they have no idea in general. Maybe I thought I'll ask you कि how does what is the role of say an analyst in say these big buyout funds? Because you've done that, you've been there, done that. So I thought I'll ask you in particular.
Yeah, so I think again, like it depends, a lot of things. It depends on, I think, even within as an analyst, like what stage you're at. I think when you're like very new or fresh into the system, you'll probably require a little more hand holding. But like once you've matured enough, you will be able to take more ownership. You'll be able to drive decisions on your own, which I experienced myself. And it also depends on like what kind of thing you're working. So typically what happens, there are like several different things an analyst can be doing. You can either be evaluating like a company in a very preliminary, when it's like still quite preliminary. You can be doing a diligence on the company when you're just about to, like, let's say, acquire that company. You can be in that process where you're like looking after the documentation, negotiation, and after that you can be looking after like working with that company's management to actually like manage it as the portfolio company, and like eventually like also help exit your, let's say, a fund's stake in that company that was initially acquired. So like a lot of different things that you have to do. If I have to like just describe a few of those, I think preliminary stage may you have to just build an understanding of the company, build an understanding of the industry. You talk to the company's management, you talk to your other advisors that you have. You like try to you get a sense from the numbers. Like it's a very analytical, number driven job in private equity. So you need to be able to look at the numbers, see if it makes sense, if the company is growing, what's the free cash flow, does the business model, is the business model sustainable, is there like a moat of the business model that will propel the company to like even greater heights in the future. And so you get a sense of all of that. That's more preliminary. Then in diligence stage, you like work with appointed advisors. Like it can be a management consulting firm that's doing a commercial diligence. It can be a financial advisory firm that's helping you with the accounting aspects. It can be legal, many more aspects that you'll have to diligence. And so
and all this an analyst is around all these legal, financial, commercial, with consultants, bankers. They all come together and you have to manage this whole work stream as an analyst.
Yeah, I think it depends. Like if you're able to like manage all of those, like sure. Often like there are like more than, let's say, one analyst working on it, so you were able to at least split some of the work. Otherwise, yeah, you'll probably be you won't get much sleep if you're like looking after everything yourself. But yeah, no, I think you're but broadly you're right. You have to like lead more than just one thing. And then eventually, like I think one thing that I personally enjoyed the most, which is like I think sort of like a something special about Blackstone, is that like Blackstone usually only invests in majority stakes. At least like it used to be this philosophy for its non-growth investments. And there what happens is that you're not just like a passive investor, but you're actually working with the company on a very regular basis, deciding what direction the company needs to take. And I think that like on everyday basis there's like a new thing to like work on. And I personally like enjoyed that a lot. For that company that I mentioned, we helped IPO on the Nasdaq. So that was like personally, I think, one of the best experiences.
I think also Blackstone in particular also is one of the leading companies because they've built that reputation over the years. I read about it in one of the books, King of Capital. I've mentioned this before on my podcast, previous podcast as well. Like how Blackstone was it was a friendly company to other I would say other management firms as well who are being acquired forcefully. They've acted as a white knight for quite a few companies. That's how they've overtaken, say, a KKR or say this Carla. They've built their own niche, and that's why they are the biggest. I was just saying that this job, people pay you big bucks because you need to be really coachable. It's not a 9 to 5 job where you can just get done with today's task and just go home and chill it. You need to be, they're paying you big bucks to not just be flexible but to be willing to learn. You need to have that drive to learn every day, manage different work streams, whether it's legal, consulting, banking work streams. But the point is just to put it out there and be willing to learn and not be like, hey boss, I can't do this, I don't understand. You need to learn how the processes work, manage people, manage different agencies you work with, build that understanding. So man, it's hats off to you for just even doing that. It scares the living hell out of me at the moment just hearing your how the work stream flows. Thanks a lot, Sambhav, for these amazing takeaway, and I wish you all the best with your startup.